Da, krećemo.
Okay, so this is a clap. It doesn't mean anything because it's just, it's just
to have
for Srđan.
It does mean it's helping.
It's helping to set all the stuff all together.
Yeah. So this is our second episode in English. Great.
Exactly.
And we have two guests. Cool. That's even better, right?
Like second episode and two guests, huh?
We
are not native English speakers.
It would be weird if we made an episode in English and it's just two of us or three of us.
Maybe we could, to try to do that to see how it's going.
Yeah. Okay, so we have Aleksandra and Gordana. Gordana is from Educons University. Did I say that okay?
Correctly.
Yeah, okay. So Gordana Racić, she's going to introduce our guest Aleksandra, because I don't want to mess up the surnames and stuff. Gordana, hi. And Aleksandra, hi.
Hello.
Hello. First of all, thank you for invitation and your welcoming
introduction.
Yeah. I'm happy to introduce Dr. Aleksandra Ziembińska-Buczyńska.
Bravo, thank you very much.
I was practicing 2 days, so I'm becoming much better. Aleksandra is a professor at Silesian University of Technology, but also she is director of Center for Science Popularization at their university. And I had this opportunity to listen to Aleksandra on the conference that I was attending in Budapest last September. And actually, when I saw the program, I switched the dates that I should go to the conference because I was supposed to go on Wednesday. But when I saw the lecture, I went on Tuesday to listen to her talk about the science communication and promotion of science, which I think it's very popular now among even Serbian researchers as well. But still, we need to
it's very important.
But we still need to speak a lot about it and to raise awareness of our researchers. So I went to listen to Aleksandra and I invited her to give a lecture to our researchers. Fortunately, we have a Greenland project, which is financed from Horizon Europe Call. So we have opportunity, because it's a twinning project, to invite experts to give lectures at our university. And that's how we have Aleksandra here with us.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you for invitation also. I was really shocked that I'm going to be in Serbian podcast. It's a great pleasure, great opportunity. And it's like my first time in English. So sorry for all the mistakes. It was actually funny because I went to this conference. It was our microbiological conference because we have the same background in research. But I went there with science communication lecture. And I didn't actually expect that it's going to be so popular. And everyone was actually listening to this because, actually in Poland we have this fast development of science communication. Last 10 years it was really intense. And we are doing a lot of stuff. So that kind of activities as you do is also very common in my country. But I didn't expect that Serbia is also opening for this kind of...
We are now at the beginning, not that 10 years. Maybe we are 15 years before.
Actually, there are some examples.
There are some examples, but we are not. It's not very strong science popularization. We are just hopefully in a upflow. Well, actually, it was that science communication, like called popularization. It was very common, like always, I think, because every scientist is actually talking about science outside the university. But it wasn't so intense as it is last 10, 15 years. And I think that's why, I was working as a science communicator from the very beginning of my PhD studies. So I have this experience in dealing with this, but because 7 years ago my university decided to create a science popularization center and gave me this opportunity to start working there, I had time to start putting everything in the right order. Because it is also linked with some sort of definitions we are using. In Poland, we usually talk about science popularization, but actually we are here all the time talking about science communication because this topic is wider.
Okay, that's a great sentence and great food for thought. So it's wider, of course.
Yeah, I always thought like science communication, it's opposite of wider. Because I was thinking like if you communicate science, you communicate your science, but popularization is like let's popularize science.
Yeah, that's
like
why
that.
That's why we need some definitions, because science communication is actually a process. You are communicating science. It means that you are fact-based. But you have to do it in a simple way, which is for your audience. It depends what kind of audience do you have. You are using totally different language, but the most important is it is based on facts, and it should be very essential. So, the science popularization is also a part of science communication, because you're using that kind of language which is open for public, but you are not trying to talk about everything. You're just opening the door of your research, your lab work, showing that it's really cool, that you're doing interesting things, and you're encouraging people to join you. So popularization is more about the spark, which we can give as scientists to the society. Oh, this guy is doing a nice job. I would like to join. And science communication is the way how we are doing this.
I always had the opposite impression.
I know.
We lack the theory.
And what's the reason that your university started that Center for Promotion of Science?
Actually, it was a funny story.
Is it like an evolution of university? Like they say, if we are going to give a lot of money of public money to the research project, let's show people, let's show our public what we are doing, things like that.
Well, actually, this tax money is always the main information. Why do we need to do this? But the point is that our world is changing so fast, in such a fast way. We have to follow it. We also, as researchers, because technology is developing, world is developing, media are opening for people, and there is plenty of information. And we have this feeling as researchers, Gordana is probably feeling the same, and you guys also, that if we speak about science in a very meritorical way to a wider audience, we make them smarter. Because then they can not necessarily know the knowledge we have. It's more that they are more critical towards material they're gaining from the internet. Because we have plenty of information, but we need to select the right ones from the wrong ones. And this 7 years ago when we started, that was a very funny story, because I was doing my science communication activities, and it appeared that at my university there's plenty of that kind of people, but we were just somewhere. And when our new rector came 8 years ago, this is a person with very open mind, and our rector said, I decided to ask him, is it possible to somehow put all these people together? Because when you have a group which has the same aim, it's easier to start. And I went with this information to him, and he listened to me. Of course, he was very kind, but I didn't think that it's going to be any next step. And a month after this, he told me that yes, we decided to have this center, and that we would like you to create it. So actually, I started from the absolutely scratch. But after the 7 years, we can see that we become a place which is linking people of different backgrounds with the skills to science communication. We are teaching them how to do it well, and we are focusing on networking and teaching, because there's plenty of institutions in Poland which are performing something which is called EduFun. It means that you have dry ice, you have liquid nitrogen, everything is colorful and so on. But they also need to have these merits in it. And it appeared that they need our help. So we are trying to put all these institutions into one hub and try to collaborate to create some new way of showing science, which will be also fun, but it will be very strongly edu. So that's why we decided to create that kind
to
of
put
place.
in some strong context, to have to have vision behind of that,
Yeah.
not just to do like funny experiments and things like that. And is it that center? Is it is it made like to be for all scientists? Should all scientists be the science popular?
That's a very good question.
or not?
No. Some of them shouldn't.
Yesterday
we were discussing
yesterday asked this question.
Maybe it's us who shouldn't.
Yeah. So and we actually because we had two groups. One of them were saying that yes, everyone, and other one not necessarily. Not everyone is able to say simply and meritorically about the science. But my opinion is that we have so many ways to present science. Not necessarily speaking. Not necessarily TV. Video, not necessary. You can do plenty of things which are like actually showing science to people in the right way, but not necessarily you have to talk about it. You can write, you can have a board game, you can have a scientific stand-up. You have to find your own way. And yesterday we agreed at the Education University that the idea from Silesian University of Technology is actually very suitable also for these guys, because they now can see that they can develop their own way of showing science.
That was my impression when you asked the question. If I may answer, my feeling is that if you have a desire to
do that,
speak about science, I think that's the main ingredient. And then it's just like what's your media, what's your
I was thinking like it's the life of a scientist is not very easy. Publish or perish, run for the grants and things like that. And at the same time, I must speak popular science. Okay, it's probably part of obligation if you want to obtain money and things like that, but it's not necessary for every person from that group to do things like that.
But I think that the key word in your question was must. No, you don't have to. But if you feel that if you want to.
Yes, but I was thinking about scientists. Should we do that? Should we do that?
And here,
are we pressured by that? If we have that, you should. If there is a talk about science communication and science popularization, we have that open door policies and things like that. And some colleagues are very. Everybody had good thoughts about that, but sometimes it's like
somebody's doing it well, somebody's not.
It's like kind of obligation,
but on the other hand, there is plenty of people who are doing it well, and it could be some sort of science communicators for your researchers, because communicating science is not necessary that you have to do it. You have to do it. Some people, as you said, we have this publish or perish idea, and we have to have a lot of points after the publications with great impact factors and so on. And sometimes we simply don't have time for these activities. But there's plenty of people, especially now in Poland, it is visible that journalists, some people after PhD studies, the PhDs who decided to go to the outside world, this not scientific world, they have skills to communicate this science, because I am talking with you, I'm explaining you how my science works, and you're the great person to spread it all over the world. So it is not necessary that you have to do it personally. You can just share your knowledge with the journalist, and he's doing on your behalf.
Also, I think it helps if you see somebody doing it not really well, and then you say, I can do it better. It's like a punk attitude. Oh, these guys suck. I'm better than them.
I have to say about our experience from yesterday and my experience of organizing actually this workshop, because it was my initiative, and then we have sent invitation to all researchers, and then we didn't. When you do it by email, you usually don't get some feedback. Then I started to speak them, like have a coffee and explain why they should come to the workshop.
Direct communication.
Direct communication. Direct.
What are you doing on Wednesday afternoon?
I'm just asking.
No.
I'm just asking.
Would you like to speak about your science? And the media will come as well. And really, they had some guard. And I was quite afraid how will actually it will come up. And then I was really surprised from some colleagues that I work for 15 years. And for example, I know that they are quite shy maybe, or not like to be in the public. And then they prepared the presentation. They came with the plans, with the stories. And I was really like, wow, I didn't expect that from some people that they do it on that way. Maybe even those people, they need some support. And
you need to encourage
them, and they can also speak nice.
You know, I always find we started this podcast like from the ground. You know, it was our
initiative.
Desire, internal motivation. Yeah, exactly, desire. Because I always find science. Science is very interesting, and you should talk about it. The science when you do in lab, it's that science, but it's very nice when you talk about it. You know, the beauty of science is basically when you talk about it. Of course, when it works, but it's always good when you talk about it.
Sometimes we find ourselves talking about art and music and stuff, you know, and somehow science sometimes, to me, doesn't seem that attractive as a topic for a discussion when you drink beer or stuff. You know, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, it was always music and movies and stuff. Rarely it was science, and that's what's lacking. That's what I feel it's lacking. You know, science should be cool.
The music and arts could be very opinionated. You know, if you understand.
I mean, it's awesome topic, but science should find its way in the like coffee shop talks. You know.
Actually, there is something like science kawiarnia naukowa. It's a science coffee shop. Also, Warsaw have this science in the pub. We had this scientific stand-up, but we have to sometimes be careful about it because going so deeply into the society, we have this feeling that we would like to share the science with practically everyone. But there will be always a group of people who are not interested in science. And I, in the very beginning of my career, I thought that everyone should be interested in science. But now I know that we have so many choices around that maybe this science is not so interesting for everyone. But what is important, if you speak about your research, about your science, and showing that it's really from the bottom of your heart, that you are really person, like this is something which is really catchy. It is really, I love it. This enthusiasm is appreciated. So then scientists can be seen as people who are really keen on their work, and they can help us in everyday life. So not necessarily people will follow you, but they will be aware that scientists are really on their side.
So like a small win. But it's important. Yeah, it's really important. That's what I when you said this is the first time we're talking in English and podcast episode when Gordana sent me the YouTube video. It was TED Talk.
Okay.
And I was cool. I want to see, and it's Polish. You know? But I think there is translations. I think that there were translations. So it was
but
cool.
Actually I have to say I was very proud because on December I was doing my first stand-up in English. And it was actually I was very nervous because that was a European Union conference. And they were interested in different ways of presenting science to a wider audience. And I would like to add something to you said that art is so interesting, theater, films, and we are not linking it. It is actually, you have to link it, then it will be much more interesting. You have a whole art and science part, which is actually linking a variety of visual art and painting, theater, and so on. You have scientific theaters. You have that we are saying you have to find your way that science will go outside. Your science will go outside to the society. So it is, and well, I know that it would be great to have everything in English, and we are trying. When we have the scientist night, the researchers night at our university, we have the English subtitles. Cool. But the problem is that we've been talking about the language we are using. Sometimes jokes are difficult to be translated. Some things with this playing words, it's difficult. In Polish it would work and it would be funny. In Serbian or in English, not necessary. So there is a problem with the language, but not a very big problem. Because when we are talking, and it doesn't matter what is the nationality, we are just talking about the science communication, and it works.
You mentioned stand-up.
Yeah.
That's I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. It was a very refreshing
for me. I thought you would say frightening and scary.
It is, for sure. But Well, the point is that I work in science almost 20 years, so I'm a relatively old scientist. We say that we are geriatric scientists, and stand-up is better for people who has the younger generation of scientists. Okay. Now in EduCons we had this possibility to see younger and older generation of scientists, and I can see that it is really they have their mind is changing. And this is scientific stand-up. First time we did it with the society, with Association of Science Advocates, which I belong to in Warsaw, and I was petrified. Because first of all, when you are a scientist, you think that you should be very serious. Science is serious. And now I know that it should be serious, but sometimes you can be open to public with some humor, because it will catch attention and some people will really appreciate it. And it was my first time. I wasn't very happy of the performance. I didn't feel comfortable. But the second time we did it in Gliwice, in our university. It was first Silesian stand-up, and it went perfectly, because it was open for public who came actually for the regular comedian stand-up. And they were so shocked because awesome. we took only a small, we expected around 80 people. So okay. We had a room for more or less 80 people. This 80 people was a half hour before the event, it was full. Yeah. And people couldn't go because it was awesome. So packed. And when we ended this performance, they asked us when is the next one, because they love it. So it is showing you as a researcher that sometimes opening this door and showing that you have a sense of humor, that you actually have a distance to your research and your job, that you are the normal person.
Yeah,
you're
human.
Not someone. Yeah, you're a human being.
Yeah.
It's for you. It's refreshing, and also it's refreshing for people who look at you, because they are very open and they really appreciate that you went out from your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. For me, it was actually a big thing, because I felt that, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe it's not a good way. Of course, no, there's not like everyone can do this, because you have to feel this. You have to be your attitude should be, and also the features of you as a person that you would like to go there. But this scientific stand-up is actually quite popular in Europe, because it is not the Polish idea. It's just England, USA, and so on. You can just Google it, and in English also they have this stand-ups. But I think this is one of the tools which can be used for people who actually, you are teaching without not teaching. Mm-hmm. You are just showing science, and they have no idea that you are talking actually about science, and they will remember about it because it's a joke, and you are laughing, you relax, and you just pass it forward.
Yeah, laugh and humor is a virus, and you are inserting science underneath.
That's the point.
We should make lectures like that, just jokes.
That would be a problem, because then they will remember only the joke.
Yeah.
So in teaching, we should be balanced in this lighter form, but of course we use it. We should use it because also the students are changing. The generation is changing, and we have to follow the change, because the change won't stop.
What's your opinion about current generation students, generation like 20-somethings? Mm-hmm. What's the way to scam them and to to give them science when they're not expecting?
This is actually a problem for all older people.
Yeah. I mean,
actually, do we have problem with students' interest in science? I'm not sure.
When I would say students, I think like that generation. Not
our
our
but
students.
Just with
our students are awesome. They like
population
science and stuff. But
I never saw statistics. Sorry for this digression, but the science is could be very lucrative thing. A lot of money is made from the and a lot of people going to the to start.
But I was thinking more along the lines which way we do it. Mm-hmm. Is it stand up? Is it something else? Is it social networking?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I think that you asked a good question. Is it really needed to show science to kids, to students, because they actually have it all over around? But I think the question is more like, what is the tool to present science in the interesting way to a variety of ages, because we have kindergarten kids, we have primary, secondary school, we have students, we also have adult people, and every single time needs different tool. And I'm also during the yesterday workshop, we've been underlining that we should think about the audience. So if I'm over 40 and I have students 20-something, there is a gap. But the talk, like we can ask them, what do they need? Not necessarily we have to do everything, right? Yeah. Because sometimes it is that they, I noticed that some students will say that, we would like to have this and we would like to have this. And it's like two opposite things. So then you have to be reasonable. But on the other hand, I think that this partnership between ages, like this generation gap, they could have some bridges. And this bridge is this talk. Ask, guys, what is the tool you would like to see? We were talking about the social media. Like our students like Instagram. We, people around 40, we usually use Facebook, but of course also Instagram, but more Facebook. And kids who are like in primary school, they use TikTok or something totally else. But it is changing. They are changing, and we are changing. So I think that first of all, we have to think as a person who would like to reach. And if we don't know how to do this, just ask. And be reasonable with our experience in this information we're having as a feedback.
Do you use TikTok?
No, I don't know how to use it, but I know that it is reaching young people. But the problem with TikTok and with all social media is that it should be very fast.
Yes.
It should be like 3 seconds, and you cannot show science in 3 seconds. Like you can show,
or is it just a huge challenge, and maybe it's possible?
Well, yeah.
It seems for me it's like flashy experiments. Yeah, you could do always explosion things like that. Is that the good thing? Maybe for attention. It's a teaser. But after that should be something.
It's not science popularization. It's a teaser for science.
Okay. So I feel TikTok is it's good platform. Of course, it does work. But if you have such a small forms,
of course, you're not going to explain like hardcore science in 30 seconds and 1 minute. Of course,
its question is: do you need to explain hardcore science, or just to talk? There's this thing. This thing exists.
And again, we are coming back to the definitions. Because if we are talking about only interesting people, would like to only have the interest, this 30 seconds experiment is great. But if we are talking really about spreading science to the society, we need to give some merits into it. So I think that we should have a sort of combination that we are using this very short this media to attract, and it should be something in the next step.
Yes, of course. You should always be aware of limitations of the media. I'm asking that because we have in Serbia an awesome science TikToker, Tijana Prodanović. I think she's one of the best science, both communicators and popularizer.
Cool.
And sometimes, I mean, those videos are short, but she says a lot, and she has a lot of followers. And kids also follow her. So her message is really, really good. So it's possible.
So it's meritorical. It's essential. She's fact-based. Well, honestly speaking, we have this 3-minute formula, like a Fame Lab, like a 3-minute thesis. It is possible to prepare very good scientific talk in relatively short time. But you won't go into the details. So again, we're coming back to some things cannot be really deeply explained in 3 minutes.
Of course.
But it could be like the general information, because I think that when we have very short forms, sometimes people could think that it's so easy. They can explain it in 3 minutes. It is art, actually, to put it into very short form. And we have this competition, this 3-minute thesis. It came from Queensland in Australia, but we have it like 6 times in our university. And we have more and more PhD students interested. And they're really great in it because they know that this the most important meritorical part should be somehow well packed.
Yeah.
But still, it's about the merits.
Yeah.
And there was one situation when I went to the conference, and we decided that the posters will be presented in 3-minute presentation. And I was like the person who is leading this part. And there was a professor who told me, in 3 minutes, it's not enough to say who I am. And then I said, okay, but there is plenty of people who can explain their PhD during 3 minutes. And he was shocked, and he was like, oh, what she's saying. But then he tried to do this. Of course, it was not 3 minutes. It took 5, but he did it. And he told me, it's amazing. I did it. And I said, because you tried. You wanted to do this. Yeah. If you practice, you can make it shorter. But it is so difficult. For me, because I was taking part in that kind of competition, my 3-minute thesis presentation, FameLab presentation, I was working on it like for weeks. Because first you have like 10 minutes, then you have to shorten, but still you have to think about the most important
matters. You need to extract the essentials.
Yeah, and you have to have an interesting story in 3 minutes. So if someone is asking me, oh, it's so easy for you to speak about your science, like, well, because I'm practicing. I'm practicing and I'm prepared, because that's the point. If you're not prepared, you won't stick the time.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. Couple of days ago, I watched a video. Neil deGrasse Tyson, of course, the main guy. He's awesome, and he was talking about one occasion when he needed to explain some cosmic phenomena and stuff, and he was doing it. He was using his hands and stuff, and then at one moment he did the shimmy movement, like this, like hula hop movement, and he said he was presenting that to the media, and all they took was that moment when he was like doing this, and then he realized they took sound bites, they took like little parts of his presentation, and he said, so I need to make my communication into these like small chunks of information. I need to prepare that. Then I'm in control. So I'm not going to let them, that's their language. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to like insert some awesome information, also something funny, something memorable, and they will have like three layers of information, and I will do it. And he's I don't know what you think about him, but I think he's really awesome.
So basically he made the quantum science popularization.
And he does the awesome job. I mean, I'm not a physicist, so maybe he's scamming people, but I doubt. So he's really like an example for me.
He's great.
And also he has a stand-up comedian like his sidekick. Do you know the?
No, this one I don't know.
The guy is called Chuck Nice, and he's a stand-up comedian. He's not a scientist, but he's like because there's a podcast Star Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast Star Talk, and he's his co-host, and he has his whole comedy show based on science, and he's really good, Chuck Nice. So their communication between two of them is really good. So there is a.
So actually, excuse me, we're just talking about two things. Did you notice that we have researchers who could be science communicators, and we have science communicators? And it also went when we've been talking at our university about it, because it's something different to be a professional science communicator, because it's just job.
Yeah.
And scientists should, that's why I'm talking about building the community, because when we are all together, we can share the responsibilities. These guys can be like showing science in their way. They could, they are well equipped to have stand-ups and so on, but scientists could show their science, which should be at least a little bit serious. That was I'm on purpose. I said this one because when we've been doing this stand-up, there was my colleague from IT branch, very smart guy and very open-minded. But after the classes we were taught how to do the stand-up comedy. He told me, Ola, because Ola is a nickname for Aleksandra, that I don't feel that I am able to do this, because I think that my science should be at least a little bit serious. And I am underlining it because I don't want scientists become comedians. And I don't think that comedians should be scientists, taking aside this. For people who look at us in media, they put everyone into one bag. So we, again, coming back to definitions, we have to think how to put all the forces together to spread science to people and do it actually that showing that science is really something serious, but you could present it in a meritorical and funny way.
There should be levels, of course, and also the complexity of information should be also have levels, and that's how you can reach the widest audience, I guess.
And we talk about it. This is like global phenomenon that is we talk for itself. Like when talking about media and we're talking about our platform of presentation, like there is a. If we talk about television and things like that, when we are kids, there was science popularization, TV show and things like that. It doesn't exist. It exists, but its television doesn't have such a impact.
Of course.
Yes, and
There's
basically, media. We don't have very much media. We are on our own, so we are creating that media space. We are the guys.
Actually, I'm not sure. I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV, so I'm not in.
Neither do I.
I think a lot of people is not watching TV anymore. That's why we are saying that we are creating media, and the social media is very. You can put everything there. That's why we have to show people, we as researchers should show people how to separate good science communication, good information from the rest of the trash. Because you can put almost everything to internet, you can pack it very well, and you can say that this is science, and if it's well packed, people will follow. That's the problem, actually.
Can that make a backlash? Like if the people see the science, it's very easy. She showed me her PhD for 3 minutes or something like that. Maybe I could interpret the science that I see results and things like that. Like to make a pseudoscience.
What's your opinion?
About
is it a possible like a trap to have. Audience,
if you so openly talk about
that the science is simple, it's like that.
Well, actually, this is what we started from that definitions and building the society of science, because I think that we should scientists should loudly say that science is difficult.
Okay.
Because we are trying to show everyone that we are just doing this science like this. But guys, you're chemists. You know how long some procedures take. When you have, it's also when you're presenting your PhD in front of the committee who is giving you this PhD. It's 20 minutes, and it's like 4 or 5 years in 20 minutes. And someone who is not dealing with the lab work like we do could say, 20 minutes. It's like. It's nothing. It's like she showed it in 20 minutes. But this is also, we should underline the scientists are doing difficult stuff, but they have the ability to show them in a relatively short and compact, interesting, meritorical way. So I think that we could be trapped in this 3-minute idea of science. But our job is to create society which can be really easily distinguishing, teasing in science, and real science, which is like, because the idea of science popularization, this is what we are doing, is to interest people into go deeper. We cannot show whole quantum physics in 1.5 hour lecture. But if you will show it in 3 minutes that is interesting, maybe it will be this belly dance or whatever, but then maybe it will open something in your head that, it is somehow linked with belly dance, with this hula hoop stuff. And then people, we would like to attract them to go deeper. That's the idea, actually.
We have a lot of these pseudoscientists, but I think that the archaeology history is full of pseudoscience because
maybe in Serbia. I don't know
Serbia,
what's the situation.
I think it's all over the place, because they can easily
we
connect.
Love history. We love history.
They don't have a background in history, archaeology, and methodic, science methodologies and things like that, and they connect things like very easily. So they have, some conclusions that are
Yeah, we have movement, for example. I'm sure that every nation has that movement.
Are the Polish the oldest country
nation in the world?
Is it?
Well, actually, I didn't notice this, but what is important?
Lucky you.
But what is important? We are saying there is something which is called citizen science, and we've been talking about it. And this kind of movement, you said, it could be somehow used and changed if you ask these people to join real scientists. Because citizen science is the idea when you have the scientists from the university who are equipped with tools, methodological tools to perform experiment, and they have the experiment to which you can be you are part of, but not as a object, right? Object, but no, you're just a performer. You're just the researcher. You are also, according to this set methodology, you are producing data. So then there is this some sort of control on what is going on in this project. And these guys who could be the pseudoscientists, they are getting new knowledge from scientists, and they're just again the forces are strengthened. And the data are like you have double amount of data. You can statistically analyze them and so on.
What's your opinion? Are there some scientific fields that are more open to citizen science? They're like easier to include people there.
Well, I think that everything depends on the scientific question you're asking.
Okay.
Because, for example, we are from environmental science, and most of environmental science research can be done using citizen science. The question is the hypothesis of our research it does require more data, or it's enough what we are doing? So I think that because sometimes we have a tool and we would like to find a reason to use this tool. And it should be totally opposite. It should be a scientific question, a hypothesis you're going to support, or totally opposite. And then you're thinking, maybe I should ask people who are interested in my research, who has some practical background, but they are not necessary researchers. They're just joining me, and we are doing citizen science. I think that because sometimes we think that if we use, of course, it's a bad word for this, but it's the idea. We are using people as the object of our research. This is citizen science. It appeared that not, because that was actually my first thought. We are having like a different tests and so on. No, the point is that they are doing this research. So they have to learn something. They have to be eager to open their mind how to do this. They have to follow the strict methodology. It's not just collecting samples, just putting them to the bags and just bring them to the university. No, it is the weight. It is the clean.
The whole process of basically educating, helping them, participate, but in a better way than just
you're just the
points in
the research team. The citizen scientist is a part of the research team, but you have to show that doing research is actually following a lot of protocols. It should be somehow put into order. You have some definitions you have to use. So I think this is also part of education in this field, that we are not showing that science is so easy, but it could be extremely interesting. And people can follow you. Maybe they will do PhD when they are like 60, because they decided to join scientists.
Which would be awesome. Actually,
it would be great.
Awesome.
And I think it is coming, because also in this project, Gordana's you can tell a little bit this. I think it was this Better Life.
It's a Better Life project that actually we are socially engaging researchers, early career researchers, and we are trying to give them tools to communicate science better, to connect with stakeholders, and to reach the citizens. So we developed the Digital Center of Excellence for early career researchers. And we have some tools there uploaded.
So this is open, of course.
The center is open. It's a European Union center, but also within
we should link this information.
We have each university, which is the partner of the project, actually has its own national center. And within the national centers, we have mentorship programs. So it's not mentors like when we were discussing about mentors. It was also a question. So mentor, it's not your PhD mentor. No, it's a person who can help you to reach your science, to reach your audience. So it can be even a citizen that is expert in some field. We have some boot camps, some tools, and actually community sharing.
And the same idea is shared with because Poland is the like Katowice, which we are linked with because I'm from Gliwice, but we also have some faculties in Katowice. This is the first European, Central European science, the city science. We are the European city science, and now we are also dealing with this project that we have open calls. Now they're opened in May. For citizen science ideas, we have projects from our researchers, and they would like to go to Silesian people, show them that it's possible to join this kind of action as a researcher, citizen researcher. And I think that's why I'm saying that it's developing, because we can see the opportunity of somehow teaching the society how to deal with work. We are showing that it could be very interesting, but it should follow the rules. And again, we are building the society which will be developing using this kind of tools.
But we have also the call for citizen science projects. I remember that last year we applied for one. Unfortunately, it was finals, but we will improve it. So we have the calls.
Yeah, actually, there is a citizen science in Serbia. I know for a couple of projects. Well, one is it's called Twin Register. We have a twin register. So twins or their parents. Yeah. It's totally irrelevant if they're kids or adults. They participate in this project. I'm gonna butcher it, but basically it's a combination of psychology and genetics. So they're trying to realize which psychological traits are like genetic, or which genes are in the important for developing something.
I have friends participating in this.
Cool. Yes. So actually, they had a lot of their lectures here in this place. So it's really awesome. Also, I know the other project where they are they're testing bean bug. I'm not sure if the words neki pasuljak, something like that. Yeah. Okay. And they're like, okay.
That doesn't help.
Skip this. My question. What happens if you realize that you made a mistake during some in some occasions? You said maybe something that's actually wrong. Did it happen to you?
Smile.
Yes.
I learned it yesterday.
First of all, you should say that sorry, I made a mistake.
Okay.
And I would like to correct
it. Okay.
Because we had a few situations like this, and I also have this. I did in my career also. I was suggested with some information I didn't check, and I had to say that I was wrong. I had to say sorry. I had to pay for this mistake. But we also had a situation in Poland that there was such a situation in public speaking, and the scientist didn't want to say that she was mistaken. She was trying to explain everything around, not necessarily said, sorry, I did it wrong. And that was the moment when I realized that we are not, we don't know everything. We have a narrow part of our knowledge somewhere in our head. We could say that we don't know something or we made a mistake. And again, it's the part of being a scientist, that we should check facts, which was also I checked. I had this situation, and I know I am strongly convinced that I have to do this. So fact checking what you're spreading, and if you know that you made a mistake, you should be maybe not serious. You should be honest enough to say that we don't know everything. So here I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I have checked it. It is wrong, and I'm giving the explanation. If I'm not able to give the explanation, at least say, sorry, I made a mistake. And I think this is, for scientists, is very difficult, because for years, at least in my country, scientists we've been living in this ivory tower, which is so, everyone is so smart. We know everything. When you're a professor, you're just absolutely, almost like on the top. Yeah. And I was, when I went for my PhDs, I thought that all these people around me, they know everything. Mm-hmm. And I'm so small and so stupid, and I have to learn so many things. And I still am so small. But I have this feeling that you cannot know everything. Because especially now, when we have such a development of technology, of science, we have very narrow scientific paths. Because if we cannot make them wider, because we want do the research actually. Yeah. That's why we have to have the interdisciplinary groups and collaborations, because you cannot do your science only you. You have to have someone to discuss, to have different point of views.
So basically, the science went down from their castles in marble and go to the people.
Yes, that's the opposite problem of making your science seem simple. This is the opposite.
We're always talking like we are scientists, and are we different from the other people?
It's a job.
Yeah.
Being
it's a job.
Scientist is a job, but it is a job which requires being really strongly involved, because you have to have features which the tools which can then you have to be curious. You have to be you have to ask questions. You have to like to search for facts and put them all together. I think that it's not that a scientist is someone totally different than the rest of people. No, we are just humans, but of course we are dealing with very difficult stuff. But plenty of people are dealing with this. Some of them more or less differently. But this is what I'm always underlining, that I could be mistaken. I could be wrong. I could say, sorry, guys, I don't know this, but I will read and I will let you know. This is especially when you're teaching students. I was taught that you don't know this. You have to read this if you're a student.
That's old school teaching. I know that.
Now I know that when I have a question and I cannot answer it because I don't know it, or maybe it's not my cup of tea sometimes. I'm saying, sorry, I'm not a specialist. I'm not going to answer in details because this is not my branch. Or I'm just saying, sorry, I don't know, but you can give me your email. I'll just check it and send you the response. And I think people appreciate that kind of attitude because they know that you're a person who can say, I don't know, but I will learn.
Yes, actually, I think it's really those moments when you realize you made a mistake. I mean, if they are not too often, right? I think that's what's awesome, because now you will be better because there's another information, better information, so you learn something. Actually, that's the whole scientific process, basically doing it in front of, I don't know, camera or
we've been talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, that's science actually. I have another information which is totally opposite of what I said, and now I'm thinking about it and I've learned something. I've corrected myself, and that's better. Now we're better. That's awesome. If somebody points out somebody from the audience and your followers.
Listen.
Yes. And they listened to it and they thought about it. And they said, hey, no, that's great. That's why we want to involve as many people as possible. With some kind of success and sometimes not successful.
I had an interesting interview yesterday because I had to announce Aleksandra's lecture at the TV, and I didn't expect that I will go to do it, and I was preparing about her. And actually, our project is about microplastics.
Okay.
And I'm not an expert in microplastic. It is done by my colleagues from Faculty of Environmental Protection. And then the journalists, she started to bombing me with the questions because microplastic is something that people don't know. It's very hot topic. So I received so many questions, and I was I know something. It's not that I'm completely lost in this topic, but I listened to her, and I actually had now different thoughts how actually other people think who are not completely in this field, and what are their concerns, thoughts, and actually it was very a nice talk because they made me think also like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome. I have a question. Which Polish science communicator is the best one, or which couple of Polish communicators?
Well,
besides yourself,
of course, I was saying that me. No, we're laughing, but I think that also yesterday we've been underlining this. It depends what you're looking for.
Okay.
Because first of all, you have different sciences you can show. Secondly, every single science communicator has its own style. And you can like this style or not necessary. And it's good because everyone is different. And you have really right to choose the person who is really talking to you. So we have a few known names in Poland. Our colleague physicist Tomasz Rożek, he is a person who is collaborating with, I think, with NASA now. And he has this foundation called Science, I Like It. And he's on the market like, I think, over 10 years. And he's doing a really good job. And this is one of the most famous science communicators in Poland because almost everyone knows him in Poland. Of course. There's also physicist Professor Dragan, who is a scientist and also he is science communicator. But as I told you, everything depends what you are looking for.
Do you listen to like your colleagues, communicators? Do you?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to.
So you are their audience,
because
right?
This is this development of your workshop, your tools. You have to listen to others because they are doing a lot of things better than you. So if you want to improve, you have to listen to people. Because in the moment when I say I know everything, it will be the end of my career.
Of course, yeah.
As I was saying yesterday, if I will say that I'm going in front of the public and I will say that I am not nervous, it will be the end of my moment here. I should change my job because being nervous is a part of trying to perform as much as possible.
Yeah. That means you care.
You need to, of course, take care with this. These nerves are in you, so you can work on it. But if you don't have just a little stage fright, it means that you're just going and speaking. So you have to be at least a little bit nervous. So I think that we should all listen to each other because people have totally different skills. And we should use these skills, which are ours, which are the best. And also I was talking yesterday about it when we had the finals of Fame Lab and we have 10 science communicators from different, it was not only different field, age, place of working, but also the style. And when I was listening to these guys, I said, oh my God, they're so good. But every single one has totally different way to present their science. So that's why I'm saying you have to find your own way to show research. And you also need to find your own way to gain some knowledge from the surrounding world.
You mentioned Tomasz, is it?
Yeah, Tomasz.
Tomasz, physicist.
Yes.
Then you mentioned Dragan, physicist.
Yeah, I know.
And then I mentioned Neil deGrasse Tyson, physicist. Is there something with physics? We have a gripe with physics, you know. I mean, everybody, every great science communicator is physicist.
We are scientists.
Also,
we are
similar situation in Serbia. Similar situation in Serbia.
Physics is the best to show because it's everything around.
Tijana Prodanović, the lady with the TikTok.
Yeah.
Physicist.
Yeah.
Astrophysicist, but still, you know.
I think that physicists have better lives than science communicators. Honestly,
they're better.
But you're not physicist.
I'm biologist, microbiologist actually. But you're right. I noticed this as well because I think that physics is all around and a lot of people don't like physics.
Okay.
And they don't realize that they are surrounded with physics. You can show physics like you can just throw it. Everything will be physics, right? But I think that it depends also. Can you show this? Because I mentioned physicists because they're actually the names which are like in my head. But we also have, there's my colleague who is performing on the Instagram. She is an engineer. She is a wastewater-based doctor. This is the name. And Edita, she is from our university. She's working with water purification and sewage purification. And she's dealing with she has her own channel on in social media. We have the scientific journalist, Crazy Now Science. and they are dealing with a lot of topics. So it's not only physicists, but this is the first name I came because it was like one person who is showing.
There is something.
Research.
There is something.
And I think that also because physics is from the very beginning in school, because it is with us from primary school.
Okay.
And it's easier to be shown. As I told you, I can just drop something and you have physics. But it is difficult to show microbes. Here are my microbes. Can you see that? No.
True.
It requires like some other branches of science requires different visualization, and this visualization needs first you have to understand the topic, and then you have to think how to show it to be convincing for your audience. And it is actually very difficult.
I have another part of the explanation, maybe like another theory also, that people who are wondering about physics, they have profound questions, like basic questions. They have that curiosity. Maybe there's something in people who are interested in physics, and then people who study physics, people who finish who graduate physics. Maybe those questions that are in their heads, maybe those questions are fundamental. Maybe I don't know.
Or just
people who are interested in physics.
Yeah, but I have another hypothesis. Okay. Like when you show it,
Gordana will hear your hypothesis.
It's very easy to show physics, but the physics, that's the very old kind of physics. Everybody knows what's going to happen, but they need to explain themselves how the electron works and things like very complex, and they try to put it on the level that they can understand. And probably the all quantum physicists have some, good things, explanation how things works, and things like everybody's know about cat and things like that. So they're making explanations that are funny and interesting for the public.
But you're saying about very important thing, because you cannot explain easily your research to the audience if you don't really understand them.
Yeah,
that's why it's the easiest way to understand your research, to explain it to a 5-year-old. If you have kids and you're explaining them, and you can see that this little guy is just like, it means that you just lost him. So if you want to catch the attention, you have to be persuasive. You have to show it. You have to have a picture of it, but you have to understand it at a very, very deep, because then you can explain it. You sometimes you have to change the way of visualization, the way of how do you speak, the language. I think that you are underlining the problem. You won't explain something in the really easy and interesting way if you don't know how it works.
Gordana,
I think actually that actually, as I speak with kids, with students, I really think that actually physics is hardest discipline to understand, because when you ask somebody what is chemistry, they think immediately about some experiment. When you ask about biology, they think about plants, microbes. When you ask them about astrophysics, they're like, some space, but they're not so sure. And that's why I think that physicians maybe feel some need to popularize their science, because they need to reach to the people. And also when I was searching this science communication subject, I saw that there is also fourth physician who is called Darko Donevski.
Darko Donevski,
He was giving the lectures, and I was interested in his lectures, and I asked him, when do you come again in Serbia? I sent him an email, and he told me, maybe in 8 months, because now I'm doing some lansiranje.
Launching.
So we have fourth one.
No, we have a lot of them.
We have a lot of them for physicians.
We had Slobodan Bubnjević. He finished physics. He graduated physics, and right now he works in the Institute of Physics in Belgrade, and they also have a small media department. So he's a scientific journalist. But when you introduce him, it's always physicist and journalist. And he wrote a book recently, awesome book about nuclear energy and nuclear bombs and stuff. Awesome, really interesting. So there are a lot of physicists in Serbia.
But when I got a question from my friends, what to enroll, and although I'm chemist, I'm always saying you have to enroll physics because I really think that there is something.
But talking about chemistry, guys, you're chemists. Did you notice that people are saying that if something, it doesn't contain chemistry?
Yes.
Like a
without chemicals.
Okay.
And that's good. If there's no chemistry, then the chemicals,
yes,
no
it
chemicals.
Means that there's no. And I was laughing last time because I was I think it was. I don't remember. It was like pure. Oh, I know. I have problems in my garden. I have problems with snails, and these snails hate this copper
wire or something like that.
Yeah. And so I just opened. There was a box with the copper, pure copper, in the tape, and there was written no chemistry. It's like, okay. Of course, we have to explain that this is pure chemistry.
Actually, that is the pure, element, chemical element.
Well, we noticed it's like a kind
funny,
of
actually.
Chemophobia. Chemophobia. I think it's global phenomenon.
Yeah, I know.
We talk a lot about that.
But it's chemistry. You're a chemistry, actually. You're a biochemistry.
In our podcast, we talk a lot about that because there is plenty of things to
maybe we do it more than we should because we always say chemicals are awesome, which is not always the case. Which is not always the case
all over the world.
Actually, I had some. I was thinking about something. Maybe it's kind of off topic. We was preparing. We are preparing ourselves for the next topic that we're going to make. It's science publishing, and there is a problem in science publishing. They said there is a problem because big journalists like interesting, flashy science, hot topics, and things like that. And how science popularization can influence that, like to make a full circle. If you understand me, how to science popularization influence the science itself to be more interested, to be more.
So what you wanted to say is that sometimes those titles, like
not just a title,
they sound a bit clickbaity, and now it became a part of real science publishing. Not really, not just ordinary media.
There is a very boring science and very important science. Some boring things like when this guy was looking at the black plate and counting the electrons and things like
counting
that.
Stuff.
It's but very important discovery.
It's boring part of cool science, probably.
Yes,
science
but there is a lot of boring science around. Okay. But they don't have the journals are not very interested in that boring science. They always want something that is
should are like inclined to present their science as a bit flashy, to use those.
Not just everybody wants a cure for cancer. It's a hot topic. Microplastic, solar energy, green energy. It's very. But I don't do that. I do. It's not for cancer. It's for something complete. It's important, but it's.
It's not clickable.
It's not clickable. It's not. There is no place for funding for you. Things like that. Because the founding agency. There are some scientists sitting there, but there are a lot of people from different areas.
Administratives. Well, I think that it's again a global problem because I noticed the same that these titles are changing into clickable. But lately, I had to write a book summing up my whole scientific story in my scientific life, and I just went through a tone of the articles in my field. And some of like more or less half of them was about nothing. It means that we are publishing our research. Well, in Poland there is something which is called punktoza. It is like we have to have scores, points for everything, for publication, for presentation, for this and then. And as you need to have a lot of all these points. And I think this is the terrible scientific problem because we are not publishing. To publish something strong and interesting, we need to have points. Numbers. Yeah. If you have clickable topic and someone is using it and cited, maybe you didn't have anything interesting there, but you're just the topic is suitable. Just you will just cite it. It makes your Hirsch index higher. Yeah, and it's like again, there is no ideal method to measure the influence of science. Of course, at your university, you're trying to work on it, but still we don't have. These points are really, I think it's like the more or less, we didn't find anything better. But on the other hand,
it's necessary evil.
And journals, they are actually looking into, they want to gain attention. So again, it's sort of media. And I don't have the answer for this question, because for me, scientific writing should be scientific writing for specialists. And popular scientific writing should be the same, but in a popular way for a different audience.
Of course.
So if you are a specialist in a very narrow branch, I'm working with microbial communities in activated sludge. I'm working with this, I know this jargon, I understand it. Again, yesterday we've been talking about it, that we have this inside science communication, which is scientist to scientist. So when you have this communication, you also need to communicate in some sort of simple words. But I don't think it is required also in these papers. And the clickable topic, like the title, is not necessary that you're sure that inside there's really something clickable. So it's better to write it simpler, but it would be really strong article, and don't be clickable, because specialists will find it. I think.
Actually, I've found that there are some, for example, in Science and Nature, there are also, besides research articles, there are some like parts, there are news and views, where it's more like clickbaity, but it's good. Actually, it's
that's a part of science community, science polarization.
It's somewhere in between, because it's somewhere in between, because people who write it are sometimes journalists, but of course their journalists usually have degrees or stuff, but still it's more relatable to a wider audience
outside the university.
So they say what's the stuff, and then you have a research article like in references. You can read it, of course, if you have paid. If you paid, if it's not open access.
But again, it is changing, and we have to think: do we want to follow this change? Probably yes, but there should be some serious science we are keeping for researchers, and this very narrow specialization which should be supported, because we have to distinguish this science communication for professionalists and science communication for the outside the university. So I think that it is actually a difficult topic we are talking now, because the world is very difficult now in this in this terms. And we are changing. We have very fast development in variety of research branches. So there is I don't know, is it Polish, but there is such thing that I wish you live in a very interesting times.
No.
And it is actually a curse, right? Of course, it's nice to live in interesting times, but now we're living in a very interesting times. Is it really so good for us? It's, of course, open question, because everyone could say, yeah, I like it, or oh, no, I don't like it. But we have to, my personal opinion is that in everything, we have to find our own way. We cannot be very stubborn and stay in one place, because we have to move, we have to develop. But this development is up to us. And sometimes if people doesn't want to, it's better, it's just worse than they cannot do this. So...
Yeah, I think it's the good way to wrap this up. I think that's a really good message. But I just have one more question, and it's about stand-ups.
Okay.
When's your next stand-up
we've been thinking to have it this year, but I am not sure that it will be able, because we have plenty of activities in this Katowice City Science. Maybe as the end of this world. Sorry.
That was a joke.
We're gonna edit this out.
It was actually international. In the end of this year, as to sum up this year of science. But for sure, we'll have something soon, and then I will try to have English subtitles for you guys.
Awesome.
And send it to you.
We want to show this.
And maybe I should think also about English subtitles for the first science stand-up, because then it would be like could be spread worldwide, and maybe you guys will just come to Poland to show it in Serbian.
Are you accepting like foreigners to speak
but in
like
English?
In English,
Well,
of course.
We can translate in Polish our jokes. Our jokes will be equally bad. It will be equally bad, you know.
I'm sure that they can.
Yeah, I think they should be much better. You know, I'm laughing at me now while I'm speaking Polish and reading, Polish.
Also, I think there should be a reward for the worst presentation.
Yeah.
And we could, easily
Yeah,
win.
but there is a lot of guys who speak have this English stand-ups. I can send you some
Cool. Yeah,
links.
we're interested. Yeah.
Because I think that if guys, we have to collaborate among nations,
Of course.
and English is that kind of language. You just actually now we are showing that it is actually the common language, and I think that if there will be a group eager to do this, we can do this. You can count on me.
Yeah,
That
cool.
sounds cool. That sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with
Any
that,
questions?
Any questions more? Yeah.
well, I have plenty of.
Yeah. Okay, so next time when I'll be in Serbia.
Next time. Yeah.
We will
Cool.
organize stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. We can do this. But you have to think about a Serbian comedian. Okay, guys who are watching us, please think about someone who can teach us, scientists, how to do Serbian comedy, stand-up comedy. And then I will translate my stand-up into Serbian. I think it will be the best summary of this collaboration ever.
Yeah, it sounds actually interesting.
Yeah, we have to think about it.
Okay, so Aleksandra and Gordana, thank you for
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
guys.
being
Thank
our
you very
guests.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And see you next time in the lab.
Yeah. See you.
Ciao.
Okay.
We
don't do
great.
this.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was
Okay.
such an interesting talk. It takes like more than an hour, right?